A spiritual successor is a product or fictional work that is similar to or directly inspired by another previous product or work, but does not explicitly continue the product line or media franchise of its predecessor, and it is thus only a successor in spirit. When the Black Clover anime released all the way back in 2017, it was received as a soulless copy of Naruto. Asta was an annoying, talentless protagonist who wanted to become the leader of his nation. But what people seem to fail to grasp is that this is very poor logic. In the nearly 10 years of Black Clover's serialization, the creator of Black Clover, Yuki Tabata, has listed many different external inspiration sources that help to influence the story and creation of Black Clover. There is over 10 different series he has mentioned as inspiration: Dragon Ball, Berserk, Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Dragon Quest, Guillermo del Toro films, and the fairy tales that reside in the Brothers Grimm collection, stories of ancient past. Naruto has never once been mentioned by Tabata, but do you know what has on multiple occasions? Tite Kubo's international hit, Bleach. While Bleach was once seen as the redheaded stepchild of the Big Three, it has skyrocketed back to its rightful throne thanks to the arrival of the 1000-Year Blood War anime, but it has a long history in Shonen Jump, first being serialized back in 2001. Tabata would have been 17 years old at the time, and well within the age demographic of shonen, but he would be first influenced by the work of the late Akira Toriyama and the global phenomena of Dragon Ball. And around the same time as reading Dragon Ball, he likely would also have grown lost in the pages of Yu Yu Hakusho. I already expressed the definition of what a spiritual successor is, and I find it as both an important and useful term. Media, like manga, have a very profound impact on many lives and leave their mark on the world. It was only yesterday where I watched a college football game, and one of the players gets up after a successful play and unveils a Kamehameha. Imagine that. Someone does something impactful in front of tens of thousands of people live, with millions watching on TV, and they mirror a piece of art that was created on the other side of the world. The reach of manga is in the millions, no more. And art imitates art. Yuki Tabata, as a fan of manga, experienced Bleach, not just enjoying it, but learning from it, using the same tools that Kubo himself had learned from countless generations of previous mangaka. And now Tabata has created his own series with tens of millions of sales. Tabata has created a spiritual successor to Bleach, allowing for new fans to be introduced to the medium, as well as satisfying old fans who can appreciate Tabata's interpretation of one of the greatest manga of all time. In my opinion, the spirit of Bleach lives within the very roots of the Black Clover manga, its art and designs. The style of Tabata's drawings, while having a twist of their own, caused many to think of Tite Kubo. While it was common for Bleach to be mocked, mainly that was because of the actual backgrounds, not the art itself. It was always rare for the quality of the art in the manga to receive the ridicule. Kubo was known for his striking and majestic designs, often contrasted by the bleak white or black backgrounds. They did well to highlight both the character and the mood. Yuki Tabata often takes advantage of the firm white backgrounds, and we even get some of the mystical aspects drawing similarities between the two series. Ichigo's black spirit energy reminds me of Asta's, and Yuno's spirit weapons remind me of the Quincy's Volstendick. But what I find quite endearing are the plethora of character designs that pile into the series and tell you just how much Tabata respects and adores Bleach. Notora and Jack the Ripper, Nozel Silva and Byakuya Kuchiki, Libe and White Zangetsu, Zenon and Ulquiorra. They have very similar haunting but beautiful designs that highlight them as some of the best villains in their respective series. But it goes deeper than this, much, much deeper. It isn't just Tabata's art style or the designs of his characters, it's also how he actually writes the story. It becomes very clear when you compare and contrast the main characters of Asta and Ichigo, even in just the first chapter of both series. Bleach begins with Ichigo, who is a powerless main character. Well, he's actually not completely powerless because he does seem to have pretty physically strong characteristics for his age, and he does have the ability to see ghosts. This is why he can see Rukia. Ichigo is shown to have a rather large and loving family that might be a little bit dysfunctional, though that can happen as it is much more difficult to raise a family with just one parent. This is quite similar to Asta's first chapter in Black Clover. Asta doesn't have magic, but he is very strong, thanks to his physical training that he's undergone ever since he was a young child. And while the first chapter doesn't outright show this for Asta, in a way he is spiritually aware, as he was forced to live in a magical world without mana. And so he had no mana sensing, but his body would naturally sense life energy long before he came to master it. In Bleach, a representative of the main hero group, a Soul Reaper, arrives. This is Rukia. While in a much darker shade, the main heroes appear in Black Clover's Chapter 1 in Rebchi. Though instead of representing the Magic Knights, he stands as a disgraced former Magic Knight that was banished from the order. Instead of the Soul Reaper being the enemy, instead, Ichigo would help Rukia against the Hollow. With Rukia struggling and the Hollow having attacked Ichigo's family, the powerless Ichigo takes a stand against the supernatural force, struggling until given the Zanpakuto, a spiritual sword that is generated from the soul itself. And now empowered by spirit energy, Ichigo would effortlessly defeat the Hollow with his raw power and massive sword. Whereas in Asta's case, he would also face against the powerful Rebchi, even though he himself was powerless, only lasting just enough for him to be chosen by the 5-leaf Clover Grimoire, a magical item that bonds to the owner's soul and then grants Asta a large sword, giving him a swift defeat over the rogue Magic Knight. As you can see, there are a lot of similarities between the first chapter of Bleach and Black Clover, showing the weight of Kubo's influence on the younger mangaka. But there's far more to it than just the first chapter. There are quite the few similarities between Ichigo and Asta as both series go on. In Bleach, there are hollows, demon-like entities that haunt and consume humans. The devils of Black Clover seem to be mythic parallels to this race, as even the two groups are split up into 4 ranks. You have regular hollows, Gillians, Hajuchas, and Vastolorde. The devils are similarly ranked into 4 groups as well: low-ranked devils, mid-ranked devils, high-ranked devils, and supreme devils. Both Asta and Ichigo's mothers have major impacts upon the story thanks to their interactions with these demon-like creatures. Ichigo's mother would face off against White, who would essentially poison her, beginning the process of hollification and passing on the hollow genes and powers into Ichigo once he would be born. This is why he has the White Zangetsu and hollow powers, whereas Asta's mother dies fighting against the King of Devils Lucifero and seals the Devil Libe into the 5-leaf Clover Grimoire, the same grimoire that would later choose Asta. Libe, just like a White Zangetsu, looks like an evil, mirrored version of Asta. The fact that hollows and devils are both integral to the parents of the main character and how they came across their dark powers is a dead giveaway to Tabata's love of Bleach. Ichigo's mother is a Quincy, so she can absorb the reishi in the area. Tabata decided to go much darker with Asta's mother. Instead of absorption being her natural power, she was cursed to absorb the mana and life energy of those around her. This is why Libe was the only person who could be with her, thanks to being magicless and being resistant to life steal. And Asta's mother would not get to actually be a mother figure in Asta's life ever, as she would die much earlier in Asta's life than Ichigo's mother. As of this day, we don't really know anything about Asta's father, but that could lead to a few more connections to Bleach if we ever get there. But one of the most supported theories in the Black Clover fandom is that Asta is actually a devil hybrid, which would be similar to Ichigo being a hybrid as well, as Ichigo is a hybrid of the 4 main races in Bleach: humans, Soul Reapers, Hollows, and Quincy's. While Asta might not be a hybrid of every single race within Black Clover, he's at least using the power of multiple races, which is similar to Ichigo. Asta is a human using devil power, whether that be because he's a hybrid or he just gets it from Libe. And he's using an elven grimoire. If the other part of the theory becomes true, that the dwarves in Black Clover made Asta swords, that would mean he is using the resources of the 4 main races that exist within Black Clover. As I said, Asta doesn't have his father in his life, but he definitely has a father figure, Yami Sukahiro. And there are many times where I see Yami and it makes me think of Isshin Kurosaki of Bleach, Ichigo's father. Whether that be the design, the vibes, or just how both characters act, Isshin is constantly beating up his son Ichigo, and Yami is constantly abusing his son Asta, obviously both in playful, loving, and endearing ways. In fact, I have often thought about Bleach and Black Clover crossovers, and one of the cross-verse character interactions I would be most eager to see would be Isshin and Yami. Isshin was a captain of the Soul Reapers, whereas Yami is a captain of the Magic Knights. Isshin has Getsuga Tensho, Yami has Dimension Slash, and both Ishin and Yami would pass their very powerful slash attack off to their sons, in both similar and different ways. Ichigo would have to train in a different dimension with his inner spirit, Ichigo reaching a new level of power to fully actuate Getsuga Tensho, whereas Asta can finally make his own version of Dimension Slash called Infinite Slash, where he had to actually go train in the Shadow World with his devil to be able to use it. Then we have Asta's main rival and brother, Yuno, who everyone loves to call a Sasuke clone, even though he's really nothing like Sasuke. If you read Bleach, it's very clear that Tabata takes aspects of Uryu to make Yuno. Both Yuno and Uryu are tall, dark-haired rivals. Both make spirit weapons. Both are from a different kingdom or faction than the main character. Uryu the Quincy's, Yuno the Spade Kingdom. The Volston dig of the Quincy's looks to have even inspired Yuno's Spirit Dive, as the wings and crown look incredibly similar. The only thing that I hope is that in Black Clover, Yuno and Asta have an actual huge final fight, unlike Ichigo and Uryu. Though I have heard rumors that the Thousand Year Blood War anime might change that and add it in. And even if Thousand Year Blood War doesn't do that, Asta and Yuno's rivalry is written a lot more along the lines that a final clash is likely going to happen. Now, I do want to say that if you guys hate watching ads on YouTube, I can help you out. My link right here will give you YouTube Premium for 2 months for free. This means you'll get no ads, you get access to YouTube Music, and you can listen to YouTube while your phone or device is closed. Seriously, YouTube without ads is a completely different experience. It makes it the best. So yeah, check out my link down below to get 2 months free of YouTube Premium. That also helps support the channel. I'm only going to go over 2 more characters, just so I can get into the themes of the story as well. Rukia and Noelle are 2 characters constantly brought up in comparison to each other, as they are both the female companion for the main character. Except for Bleach, Rukia wasn't the romance option. Please, Tabata, don't take too much inspiration from Bleach, and don't make it so that Mimosa is Horime and actually have her end up with Asta. So no, it's Astel forever. Anyways, Noelle and Rukia both go through similar arcs, as they are both in the royal families of the respected Clover Kingdom and Soul Society. Both are treated horribly by their family, and their arcs are partially about them pushing through this and earning the love and respect of their families. Another pretty interesting commonality between the two is that in the beginning of Bleach, Rukia loses her powers, accidentally giving all of them to Ichigo in Chapter 1, so she starts off the series powerless, whereas Noelle was born with seemingly bottomless power, but she was powerless in the way that she couldn't actually control it. If she made a big spell, it would go out of control and put her and the lives of those around her at risk. Even small spells would go out of control and completely miss their target. Finally, for the main villain of Black Clover, there is Lucius Agratis. Now, many people compare him to Aizen, that is true, but this is not how I view it. At least, that's not the full scope of it. Lucius isn't Aizen Jr. He's actually the work of Yuki Tabata, taking aspects of both Aizen and Yhwach and sprinkling them on top. The reason that Lucius gets compared to Aizen is that he is a master planner. Lucius, who can use time magic to look at the future, planning a massive scheme, a scheme that was set from the very beginning of the Black Clover story. Though he shared a body with his soul brother, he would force the Wizard King to fight Patri while not at full power, causing him to die, only for it to turn out that time magic was used to prevent the death. So we have the fake death of Aizen in early Bleach as a massive part of Aizen's plan. This is often dubbed as one of the best plot twists in Shonen. But then we also have the fake death with Lucius as well, which is another great twist. Both the Aizen twist and the Lucius twist in Black Clover and Bleach are dubbed as some of the best plot twists in Shonen history. What's crazy is that I agree with this, even though I knew that Aizen was evil going into reading Bleach. I had been spoiled many times over, because this is an old series. But even though I knew Aizen was going to be evil, it still was phenomenal. I cannot imagine what it was like for the readers and anime watchers to experience the Aizen betrayal and the Aizen reveal for the first time without knowing that was going to happen. But Lucius has a fair amount of connections to Yhwach as well. Yhwach's goal is to end the life, death, and rebirth cycle in the Bleach world, essentially spawning true immortality into the cosmos. This is similar to Lucius, where he wants to make humanity immortal as well. Though, to be fair, it is done through similar means as to what Aizen was going for, as Lucius does this by taking devils and implanting their souls into humans, and then purifying the devil power into sacred power, and creating angelic beings called paladins, which is similar to a lot of the experiments that Aizen did on the Hollows. But in order to succeed in these plans, Yhwach had to absorb the power of Reo, the Soul King, whereas Lucius had to absorb Lucifero, the King of Devils and Hell. Yhwach's Almighty is essentially a time-based ability, allowing him to see and control the countless futures that exist, and Lucius's primary ability that makes him a threat is time magic that grants him the vision of many different timelines in order for his goals to come to fruition. Comparing Lucius, Aizen, and Yhwach will certainly deserve its own video in the future, so it's time to move on to the next subject that I find interesting to compare, and that is the power systems. In Bleach, spiritual beings, souls, and these spiritual worlds are made up of reishi, which are spirit particles. In Black Clover, the mana of nature resides everywhere and feeds much of the plants and wildlife. In Bleach, reishi is refined into ryoku, often translated as spirit power or spirit energy. In Black Clover, mana in a person is refined into maryoku, or magic power. In Bleach, when ryoku is outputted, it becomes reiatsu, or spirit pressure. The difference in spirit pressure can nullify the abilities of enemies or even kill them. In Black Clover, when magic power is outputted, it emits a pressure that shakes the surroundings and emits enough pressure to outright nullify weaker abilities just by simply existing with such a pressure of power. Both Black Clover mages and Bleach Soul Reapers possess a weapon that is bonded to their soul, the Grimoire and the Zanpakuto. While the size of the blade reflects the power of the Soul Reaper, the amount of pages in the Grimoire amounts to the experience of a mage. While there are a fair amount of differences between the power systems as well, one thing that we can see Tabata learn from Kubo is how to tell a good story merely through the progression of a character's power. One of my favorite Black Clover examples is Noelle Silva. She is by all accounts the ugly duckling, as she hails from the noble family of the Silvas. All of them are powerful, except for her. All of her siblings join the Silver Eagles, one of the kingdom's most successful and historic brigades. But Noelle is stuck with the worst Magic Knight brigade, the Black Bulls, which in of itself is a band of rejects. We first see Noelle show a lack of control, constantly missing her targets, but Tabata foreshadows her inner power, her inner swan that she does not have the ability yet to control. But what she quickly learns is that she is not alone. The Black Bulls are there for her. They save her, and it is this experience with the Black Bulls that teaches her that she can do the same for others, just like she wished her siblings had done for her during her rough upbringing. This leads to the development of her first spell. When attacked by a group of powerful mages, Noelle is helpless. She cannot control her magic to form an attack. Her first instinct is to run. She is a noble. She is above saving a village. Then, a little girl stops her and begs for help. Noelle knows she cannot run away. She cannot leave them. Noelle was also once a little girl that needed help. With the conviction of her soul, she acquired the defensive spell Sea Dragon's Lair and protected them and saved them. And as the series progresses, she learns ability after ability, earning feather after feather until she develops into a beautiful swan, the dancing Valkyrie, just like her renowned mother. And Bleach's power system is home to many of these same character progression moments, whether that be Rukia's progression to Bankai, Kenpachi's Zanpakuto development, and many, many more. Another connection I can see between Bleach and Black Clover is that of the hero that holds up a backward society. Many of the Magic Knight captains are nobles or royals. They uphold and protect an incredibly classist and racist system that holds much of society back. Nozel being one of the beacons of the unethical hero. The Magic Knights that defend the kingdom, but they also do so for the sake of the kingdom as a hierarchy, not for the citizens dwelling within. Like with Longris, who is willing to erase innocent civilians in order to stop one of the Diamond Kingdom generals. The Clover Kingdom is literally geographically settled based on class. The Noble Realm is where the nobles and royals live. The Common Realm is where the commoners live. And the Forsaken Realm is where the peasants and many foreigners live. And the Forsaken Realm is rare to even have a school in your town. In Bleach, there is the Rukongai, which is filled with slums. The further outward into the Rukongai, the higher the number of districts, the more disparate the conditions. Beyond District 59, residents are lucky to even possess sandals. The less fortunate districts of the Rukongai don't even get the pleasure of being reunited with their families from the living world. It's a far cry from the privilege and luxury that goes down within the Sarate. Now, I want to part ways with this video with two simple messages. One, I already know that people are going to start crying in the comments that Tabata is a plagiarist because of these similarities to Bleach, and anyone who makes this statement is incredibly ignorant. Similarities and referencing your inspirations is not plagiarism. According to a Japanese university, this is the Japanese legal definition of plagiarism. Plagiarism is the copying of a copyrighted work without acknowledgement and is against academic rules and ethics. Plagiarism is also illegal, and offenders may be fined or imprisoned. Tabata is not copying any ideas here. He is learning from Kubo, then taking what he has learned to make similar things, but in his own way. That is very different from copying. Bleach is a modern day / Asian style fantasy, while Black Clover is primarily a European medieval style fantasy. While there are similarities between Asta and Ichigo, they look completely different, they have different names, and they have a myriad more of differences that allows for Asta to stand on his own as a character, and the same goes for Black Clover. The other idea that I want to go over is that I'm not saying that Black Clover is the only spiritual successor to Bleach. Bleach and Kubo have had a massive impact on the industry and have influenced many of the current mangaka. All that I am saying is that Black Clover deserves the praise and title of being a spiritual successor to one of the greatest series in the history of fiction. Now this makes me wonder, what do you guys think? Like me, do you agree that Black Clover is a spiritual successor to Bleach? I think it's pretty clear, but let me know your thoughts down below. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also join my Discord and follow me on Twitter, linked down below. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace out.